Let's go. I'm from Chaya Vision. I'm here with Dan McGowan. Dan, how you doing?
All good, man. All good.
So it was nice to have a conversation with you. It was nice to catch up with something cooking, something going on. Before we get into the questions, the first time I've come down to this gym.
Oh, I thought
Yeah,
you'd been
I've
before.
no, no, I haven't been here. I think Alex. We normally send Alex.
R.I.P. Alice, man.
so,
Sorry.
so, so, yeah, I haven't been here. I remember chatting to you when this was all starting out, like Miguel Muay Thai was starting out. So my first question before we kick anything off is like, this looks nice,
Mm.
proper, and your gym's got fighters everywhere now, Cambodia, UK, everywhere. How does that feel? Like as a coach and as a business guy that set all this up, how does that feel?
It's a good feeling. It was always my dream, to be honest. And even how this looks, um, I always like really pictured when I was doing my fight career. I always had a passion for coaching and stuff like that. Anyway, so I always knew I wanted my own gym. And if I kind of pictured it in my head back then when I didn't have it, I would say I wanted a gym with the bags to all be the same brand, to have a color scheme, and just look clean and nice, and like this little reception area with selling the stuff and just everything. And it's basically, to be honest, is literally what I dreamed of, and pretty much this is what I would have wanted it to look like. And also, I've got to give a shout out to Muay Thai Boxing, who are like obviously downstairs and next door. That they've really brought the dream to life for me as well. So yeah, big shout out to them as well.
What about you as a coach? Because like speak to a lot of fighters, and they always have this dream of being coaches and stuff in the future. But it's a big change. Like a fighter doesn't make a good coach.
Mm.
That's a different skill set altogether. So you would have a vision of how you wanted to be a coach. Are you that vision now?
Uh, yeah, no, like like again, this sounds like I'm being cliche, but I want to get better. Like I know I can get better, and um, I'm still learning. Really, I'm still pretty. Like, even though I've been coaching like one-to-ones and stuff like that, it's completely different when you have your own fight team, and when you've then got like a massive member base, and you've got to try and keep student that's a beginner happy, but then you've got a fighter here is fighting in 4 weeks or whatever. Then you've got the guy that is basically on a fighter's level, but just not. There's so many different people you've got to try and keep happy. So that's a skill in itself. And to be honest, I think I'm doing a good job at that. So yeah, I think that is a good thing. I think in terms of getting the fight team, like getting better at like training the fight team, I think I'm doing a good job. But I think I could definitely keep improving. But I get a lot of inspiration from. We talked about off camera, like my trainer Liam Robinson. He sadly passed away. He was a legend in UK Muay Thai, and we had a group like how I'm creating now, really young lads, from like 18 to I started with him when I was 14, but all of us were like teenagers to mid 20s. I think the oldest guy was Panikos, who was probably in his maybe 30 or in his 30s at least. And the gym was like we got voted gym of the year 2014 and stuff like that. And the banter was really good banter. The vibe was good. Everyone was like each other's like biggest supporters, and I don't know how I've created it. And that's what I always wanted. And I feel like we've already created that in here. And I'd say the level we're getting towards that level. We've still got some catching up to do with Liam, because Liam, like he'd built it over a few years, and he got he got some top fighters in that gym. But I think we're kind of following that step, definitely. Yeah.
What are you doing to improve you as a coach? Because you're saying you want to learn and develop. What does that look like? How are you actually getting the extra knowledge?
So like after it was Leapfrog Bedford, I like to win. Yeah. So we actually lost more than we won that night, and it pissed me off. I'm not gonna lie. And there was a few things that happened in the fights. It was kind of a common theme in a couple of them, clinching and stuff like that. So I added more. I added more to the classes to do with clinching. I kind of realized that a lot of my fighters also. It's probably not to do with me what I'm coaching them, because I think what I'm actually coaching them like is good stuff, right? And I'm teaching them exactly what I'd want to be taught. But again, we spoke off camera about it's not about just the training you're doing. It's about what you're doing outside of the training, and that doesn't even mean like the lifestyle you're living. It means like what are you studying? Like what are you studying fights? Are you studying styles? Are you trying to get better that way? And what I realize is a lot of my fighters, they're pretty new, and they don't even know a lot of these top level fighters, and they're not like really big into like watching loads and loads of Muay Thai, which is something I feel like I got really good at when I was young. So again, just giving them more knowledge on the different styles, Muay Khao, Muay Famur, Muay Sort, whatever the style is, and then giving them fighters to watch, and then come back, right, let's try this, and I think this will be good for your style. And again, just trying to get everyone to be better at a certain style and like trying to benefit them. And I think that's a good way of becoming a better coach. More giving them advice as well, not just the skill set of training, just like the mindset and the kind of just the knowledge. Do you know what I mean? If that makes sense.
No, it does. It does. It's like how you see sometimes when you train, because you trained at a high level, when you fought at a high level, it's hard to sometimes replicate that process. And it's, when you're talking about development, so I like the idea of how you're looking at stuff and how can I change this? And it's not just linear. It's not like, okay, cool, now I just want you to kick the pads even more now. And I want you to do more. It's more like, actually, what do I need to do?
Yeah.
Because I've got this clinch work, but what do I need to do to get these lot to understand it in a better way? So I think that improves you as a teacher. So yeah, that's good.
And sorry, just to add on to that as well, like we spoke about before, like a lot of my guys in here now, you likes of Liam, your Corey's, your Eagle. We've got so many now, young guys that you look at their technique, they can all kick, they can all punch, they can all elbow, they can all clinch. But it's like you said, how and when to do that, and try and explain that to them. So I think that's now what I'm trying to get better at, is trying to explain that kind of stuff to them and really drill that into their heads, rather than just teaching them how to kick. They're all really good at kicking and kneeing and all that stuff. It's that, like, what makes elite level fighters is knowing when to do it, timing it, how to do it. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I'm trying to like figure out, different ways and trying to how like in getting that into their heads.
Cool. So in terms of yourself, you're quite well known in the industry. Like everyone knows your name, everyone knows you in terms of coaching, in terms of the fight scene, and you've done quite a few interviews. Outside of Muay Thai, who's Dan McGowan?
I don't know. This feels like it's been my identity for years. Do you know what I mean? I think actually opening the gym gave me another purpose. Although it's a Muay Thai gym and it's still part of the sport, like I kind of got more interested in like the business world of things, I'd say. Marketing and sales, stuff like that. That interests me a lot. But yeah, I'm just normal, to be honest. Like, go out with my friends, see my family, I'll have a drink, I'll have a party, but I'll train every day. Do you know what I mean? Like, just normal, really. Yeah, I've not really even thought about it. I think Muay Thai has just been my identity since like 20 years. So I kind of associate that.
What's kept you in the Muay Thai space? Because let's say your fight career has got to a certain point, you picked your injuries on your hands, and at some point there's still maybe a fight in you, not like something you may want to do in the future, but there comes a point where you can say, well, actually, you know what, I've achieved what I want to achieve in Muay Thai in terms of fighting. You're an intelligent guy, so I can now go into this, I can go into that, and go into that. What's kept you in the Muay Thai world, even from like a young age to now?
I just always loved Muay Thai. I always thought that this sport more people should know about. I don't know, it just gives you it just gives you a feeling that it's probably unexplainable if you've never done it, or a combat sport, let's say. I'm just obsessed with like I was always obsessed with like the technical side of things. Like I was saying before, like the different styles and how did that guy beat that guy? But he's like a skinny guy and this guy's massive, but how's he beating him? I was always obsessed with that kind of stuff. And I'm still pretty obsessed with Muay Thai, to be honest, and just fight sports in general. I've had definitely like ups and downs where I've had time out, to be honest. Hand injury was obviously one that a lot of people know about. But even like I touched on before, my trainer passed away, and he was a big impact not just in my Muay Thai life, but he was like a big impact on my life in general. Like, he changed my life, to be honest. So I had a bit of a time period where I thought I was going to quit after that. Well, I actually carried on fighting. Like, he died, and I actually fought a few weeks later, went to Thailand, carried on, but then I kind of broke down, and then I actually had a bit of a period out, and I stopped fighting for a bit. I think it was it felt like a long time. I think it was a few months, but that was the biggest break I'd ever had at that point. Yeah, so like that was a big like kind of break for me, I'd say, and then obviously the hand injury, stuff like that. So but yeah, I don't know what's kept making me come back, to be honest. I think also opening this is like, even though sometimes it gets draining, it's hard. Like, I come in here and it's just such a good vibe. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I couldn't see my life being any different. Like, even though, like I said, the hard days, going to shows every weekend, traveling, having to deal with like my fighters, fight camps, but not even just that. Like, you become someone they can rely on, they trust, and you take that all on you. But for some reason, it's just something I wouldn't want anything else. And I just love the vibe in here. So yeah, it makes my life. And I've built a good life for myself by Muay Thai. And
See how you say like your coach changed your life.
mm,
Do you feel there's an element of that in you with your fighters and your students here?
yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think a lot of them would say so. I'm a part of it. Like obviously they have to do the work and whatnot. But like I said, like it's not just about the skills you give them, and it's about like kind of advice, trust and stuff like that. And when I think a lot of them can trust me with their lives, and I think they know that. And I think I've helped a lot of them kind of reach levels that they probably never even thought they would ever get to. So yeah, I'd say so.
There's a thing about you, right, which I find not strange, but you're very humble. You're a humble person. Like we've interacted loads of times with CEO shows and everything. But if I was to ask, let's say Josh here standing here, give me like 5, 6 names of legends in Muay Thai in the UK fight scene, your name will come up. How does it feel that people in the industry will consider you a legend, but you yourself are quite humble? How do you balance that?
I think I've always been like that. I've never really been. I don't know. Again, like, well, to be honest, when I come through, yeah, like the social media wasn't. Again, I'm saying this, and it sounds like I'm well old. I'm not even 30 yet. But when I started fighting pro at like a young age, social media wasn't even really a thing. Like the Instagram was very new, and it might not have even been a thing when I first. Well, it wasn't when I first started fighting. So like, it was never for the popularity or anything like that. I kind of just fell into love with the sport a bit, to be honest. And I think also my parents helped that. My dad would give me a slap if I was being a dickhead. So like that would definitely help. But no, like all jokes aside, like I think my parents are a big factor in the way I probably am. Like I think again, anyone that knows my family, my dad or my mum, like we're just we're from a humble family, and very likable. Most people, like we could go down the pub and people would love us, and I've just kept that. I think it's just built into me. I think that's just how I was raised, and I think that's why it's like that. Also, having a kind of good friendship group. Like again, I go to my friends, and obviously I'm winning when I was fighting a lot more and stuff. Like I'm winning world titles in Thailand. They'd all support me massively, but I'd go down to the pub or whatever with them, and they'd soon fucking give me shit straight away, like I'm just a normal human, which I am, So I think that helps. Getting a bit of like your boys giving you a bit of shit, telling you they'll still beat you up and all that stuff. Like that probably kept me a little bit humbler, I suppose, as well. But yeah, probably mainly my mum and dad.
Do you think those fighters that are coming up now, see people like you and let's say the humbleness that you bring and kind of learn from it a little bit? Because you've got fighters coming up right now, right? You mentioned a few, Corey and Liam on our card,
Yeah.
amazing fighters, they're coming up. So Tim's a bit like you as well, isn't it? He's quite humble and he's achieved so much.
Yeah.
But do you think that kind of ethos you kind of passed forward to your fighters and even those people that just interact with you?
Yeah, I think so. Like if I actually think about it deeply, like never really thought about it until the question, but like none of my fighters really are like calling people out and being disrespectful to anyone. And I think that's one because they don't want that to kind of tarnish my name. Maybe that's why they do it. But again, it's just sometimes it's unnecessary. And I think I probably am a role model to them, and they're trying to do what I'm doing. And I suppose they can also see that you don't have to be a dickhead. You can actually be a nice guy and you can still fight. You can flick the switch. I can flick the switch whenever. But like you can be a nice guy and you can still be a world champion. You don't have to be a dick. So I think maybe they see that and they go, well, Dan's done that, so I can just be normal and just work on my craft and I can still be a champion. So yeah, maybe I'd say so.
You've had a lot of fights. If I just say to you, pick out one that really stands out. So one fight that meant a lot to you. Forget the belts or whatever. Just meant a lot to you personally. What would be the fight?
I fought Rungnarai Kiatmugao, and he was the current Rajadamnern and Thailand champion, and he also won Lumpini title as well. So he won all the belts in Thailand. I'd watched him fight for years. Like I said, I was obsessed with watching fights on YouTube and stuff like that. And he was one guy that I loved watching because he had a really good right kick, and that was something I was good at myself. So I loved how he kicked, and the gym he was from, Superlex Gym, Singdam, Wanchai, like loads of them, like one of the best stables in Thailand at that time. And I was so confident that I could beat anyone, to be honest. So, but I was a little bit scared about that one in a little bit of a weird way. Like I was nervous because I was like, this guy is seriously good. Like I've fought some really good guys up until that point and in Thailand and stuff like that. But I knew that this was like the highest level. So I do you want to go? Sorry, such a
Ruined it anyway, bro.
Yeah, so I'd watch him. I was a little bit nervous because, you know, at that level, it's small margins and you can lose. And also, he'd KO'd a few people, like real high level fighters with like head kicks and people that I'd looked up to as well. And he'd beaten them. I trained at Petchindy. He'd beaten like nearly all of their fighters, to be honest, all their top fighters. And I actually got ragdolled in the clinch by a lot of them fighters in the gym. So I'm thinking, fuck, like this guy's good, but I always believed I was going to beat him, and I had like at that point my mindset was like real bulletproof. Like I thought I would beat whoever, but when I actually won that fight, I can't explain the feeling. Like it was, I don't think I've ever felt anything like that ever again. And I think that's why I know I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here, but I think this is why fighters do struggle to probably let it go at the end of their career, because that feeling is I can't explain it. It's like I've never felt that happy in my life. And I don't know. I always used to think like, why are people crying? You know, when they win, why crying? You won. Yeah, even like they're like tears of joy. I'm like, shut up. That's not like that's weird, mate. I'm not sure. When I won that fight, I was crying my eyes out. I couldn't stop. It was just like it just felt like years and years of like what I'd always wanted to do. I just wanted to beat a Thai champion. That was like my goal, and I'd done it. And that was just like the feeling was crazy. Like. I don't even had big wins after that, but nothing. That was like the first one. Do you know what I mean? And nothing felt like that ever again. Yeah.
That would have been a special moment. How do you balance? Because going into a fight like that, you got to have the confidence, right? Your confidence got to be turned up. How do you balance the confidence and the ego and your humbleness? So you get this in Muay Thai a lot where people confuse confidence with, like smack talk. It's not the same, right?
Nah.
You could be absolutely confident with yourself, but still be humble and control your ego. How would you balance that in that case? Because you're a humble individual, but you got to turn that, because you can't go in there thinking, oh, if I just try, you can't. You got to go in there absolutely believing that you're going to win. How do you balance that?
So like, I always say like, there was always a switch. Like, so you wouldn't look at me now and think, this guy can fight. But as soon as I step in the ring, and like honestly, it is like a switch. I've fought people that I'm friends with, and I can switch it. But I also, even before the fight, like you say, like the smack talk and stuff like that, I never smack talk to anyone really. But if someone asks me a question, do you think you're gonna win? Yeah, I'm gonna win, and I think I'll knock him out. Like, but that doesn't mean I was never smack talking anyone. I never cared about hurting anyone's feelings or trying to sell a fight or anything, because at the time we weren't really selling shit. Do you know what I mean? Like there was no pay-per-view at that point, and there was no. Weren't really trying to sell too much. I just believed. I would say it. I'd just be truthful. I'm going to beat him, and that's what I'm training to do. And I feel that I can do it in this way or whatever. And again, like I think it, like I've always been confident, but then again, I think the humbleness comes because then you go to Thailand, and then some of these guys do just ragdoll you about. So you've got to kind of keep on that level. Do you know what I mean? So. You can't get too ahead of yourself, because there is always someone that is out there that is going to give you a slap and probably beat you. But at the same time, you've got to believe it at the same time. I don't know. It's very hard to balance. But when experience kind of builds that as well. Like experience, I went through the steps of like, okay, I started off like as an amateur. Then I started fighting pros, but I went to pros in Thailand. But then I was fighting the Thais that weren't like high level, but it was up a good level with me fighting. Then I'd stepped up, and then I stepped up. So you kind of build up that level, and you go, okay, I actually am good enough. Then I train with all these high level guys, and I know I'm good enough. But they're still on their day, they could still beat me, because like they're that high. That's how high the level is. So you kind of got to like the experience comes with that way. Like you've experienced the training partners, you experience the fights, and you're like, okay, I'm one elbow away from getting knocked out. So I've still got to be humble enough to kind of know that could happen. But I've got to be confident enough that I know that in the gym I've beaten some of these guys in sparring. If you want, let's say, beat like. And I know I'm good enough to be on the level with them. So yeah, that was probably how I balanced it. Just again, having good good training partners and people around you to keep you on that level, but also like you take away the confidence from that as well.
How would you teach that to one of your students?
I think that stuff's kind of hard to teach. I think you can tell them like, so actually tell a lie as well. Like, people believing in you is a big thing. Like, so again, I speak about Liam a lot, Liam Robinson and Pan. Like, Pan was a Rajadamnern champion. He's very like popular in Thailand, and he'd always tell me, you can beat him, you could do that, you can do this, you could win, but you can win that fight by KO. And I'm looking at these guys going, shit, like, really? Do you know what I mean? But so like, and Liam would say the same. Like, I fought Paulo da Silva, and I don't think anyone at the time, I was only really young, and Paulo would knock people out all the time, and he was a big puncher. And no one thought, I don't think anyone thought I was going to win that fight, to be honest. I think everyone thought it was too early for me because I was so young. And Liam always said, you're going to beat him. Like, you fight like you train, how I see you train, you'll beat him. And I probably take that. So I tell the lads, you can beat all of these guys, or whoever they're fighting, you can beat them. You kind of give them that little bit of you spur them on a bit. But the other thing that I was just talking about before this, I think that then becomes experience of like, okay, because you build up, and then you start kind of finding that out for yourself, if that makes sense. So I think, just geeing them up a bit, giving them like good advice, giving them confidence, but again, be truthful as well. Sometimes you just have to hit them with the truth as well. And that keeps them on a little bit of that keeps them humble as well.
Looking back at your fights again, what's the fight that you felt physically and mentally challenged you the most?
Probably Paulo da Silva. Yeah, that was horrendous.
What was it about that fight? He's strong, I'm assuming, but what was it about that fight? Really?
You know, actually, weirdly, I was really nervous. Again, I didn't really have a struggle with nerves in my fights, but that one, I'd watched Paulo again for years. I remember actually, again, it's basically manifestation, I suppose. Like, I didn't even know what the word was at this point in my life, but I remember 11 or 12 years old, I watched, there was a platform called P4 TV, and they streamed fights and they put them on to P4 TV. And I watched Paulo knocking a couple of people out on there, and obviously he's quite small. And I was like, all right, my dad's pretty small, and my family pretty small. I was like, I think when I'm an adult, I'll probably end up fighting him. Like, weirdly, I was nowhere near his weight at the time. I was a kid. I was probably in the 40 kilo mark or something. But I remember thinking, oh, I think that's one guy I probably could end up fighting when I'm a bit older. But he'd knocked out a few of my teammates as well. And so like, yeah, I was worried before the fight about his punches, because he knocked so many people out. And people said in England or the UK, he was like pound for pound the biggest puncher. And but he actually destroyed my legs. He hit me with a few really good punches, but actually, like, he just destroyed. So I kicked, he'd kick my leg. I'd kick with the left, he'd kick my right leg. It was constant. I would score with bigger kicks, and I was scoring with real big body kicks, but he would like just tap my legs. And I think what his plan was probably to break me down and hope that I would just stop. He probably wasn't trying to win on points. He was just thinking, I'm gonna at one point, and there was a few points where I thought I was gonna, I didn't think I was gonna get stopped, but you know, I was thinking, shit, my legs are dead. Yeah. Like, and I had like, my legs were, after that fight, my legs both were swollen. I couldn't walk. I couldn't for like, I think for about a week and a half, 2 weeks, I couldn't walk. I got carried out of the venue. It was the UK #1 spot fight, and I just turned 19. I just turned 18, and I said to my mates, if I win, my mum didn't know, but you come back to my house, we'll have a party at my house. And I went back home. They were all partying, but I went to bed, and I was in an ice bath. I remember going in the ice bath, and like, my mates are all downstairs partying, and my family and stuff, and I'm in this ice bath. Like, if I didn't win, I would have been crying. It was probably the most pain I've ever been in after a fight. That, and there was another fight when I was a bit younger, but that one was probably the worst one.
So you've had like a lot of fights for some really big names, done some stuff in Thailand. How much of that fight career has shaped who you are now, and the culture you are now as well?
I think like, it's probably made me it's been a big part of who I am. And I think even if you talk like that kind of stuff there, like I had to dig deep through real hard times physically in that fight to get through and actually accomplish what I wanted to accomplish in that fight and get the win. And then again, cliche, say a bit cringy, but you can take that into real life, to be honest. When you build the businesses and stuff like that, like, things do go wrong. Like, I mean, I've had a few times in this building where there's obstacles and you've got to overcome them. And it is literally, that is what life is. And that's what a fight is, to be honest. Like, one round you're winning, one round you're losing, one round you could get knocked out. Like, and it just swings and roundabouts. And I think that's what it's prepared me for in here. And so when things do get hard sometimes, you're a little bit more maybe mentally stronger. Again, though, to be honest, I'm actually sometimes, I'd say I found fighting pretty easy. Like, running the businesses and stuff like that, I find actually more stressful, to be honest. Like, because you feel like everything's riding on that. But so I don't know. But again, I think having the fight career and having that kind of, you know, you can get through the toughest of situations and you can come out on top always. Like, hard times don't actually last. You will get through it and you'll carry on. You can be successful. And I think that's what that taught me, Muay Thai, and also how much you can put your body through. Like a person that's never done this stuff is it. You look at Muay Thai. I mean, even when I watch it now, let's say, I'm like looking at these fighters. I'm going, holy shit! Like, how did they do it? You know, like I watch Liam fight Igor and I'm like, that looks hard. I forget I even done it myself. Like, but your body can go through so much, and you just don't. No one actually really understands until you probably do something like that. So, like, again, when things get hard, or like that you probably can get through it. Like I said, I think that's what Muay Thai has taught me.
It's like they're saying it shapes you as a fighter, but shapes your character.
Yeah.
So your personality becomes like that, right? So when you
also like confidence. Like, again, never been one to go out and like big my chest up. I can beat anyone up, but I would never be like that. But it's nice to know that you can fight. Do you know what I mean? When you know you can do it, it's nice to know you can fight. And I can walk in anywhere. And again, not saying I can beat anyone up. Like I'm not saying anything like that, but I'm saying, like, I can walk in there with confidence and feel safe-ish. Do you know what I mean? Like pretty safe, and feel like kind of respected. Even that, like, feel respected. You get a different type of respect when you've achieved something as a fighter. You get a completely different respect. That, like, I never got that respect, the same sort of respect in school. Like, nothing ever happened to me in school. But as soon as I started winning big fights and getting bigger and bigger, like the people I went to school with now, when I see them, like, I can tell it's just different. Do you know what I mean? So that's another thing it probably gives you, is like, you get a lot of respect. So people actually listen to what you say. They want to work with you. They want to do stuff with you. So it helps in that way as well, I think.
So it's a question that I find quite interesting is, you see, when you're coming up, there's the hunger to be like the champion or whatever, right? And you go for your interclubs and everything, and you get there. So see, when you had your big fight and you beat the Thai champion, and you had all the tears and the emotion because you got there now, right? Now you're there. You're pretty much at the top of the hill. How do you maintain it? How do you maintain that hunger and that motivation to stay there? Because you can't fight the Cowboys anymore.
Yeah.
Everyone's elite now.
That's it. Yeah, that's the hard thing. It's hard. It's hard to get there, but it's actually pretty hard to stay there and go beyond it, because obviously the fights get harder. You have to train harder. Like, so the thing is, everyone thinks you get better, and then you just don't have to do as much of that skill trade. But no, it's actually, you get better and it gets harder, because one, you push harder, and two, you have to be better. You have to do better, because the guy you're fighting is just as good, if not better. And so it's a good question, because it is hard sometimes. And like, even now, like, so I come after that fight, I had a few real high level fights, and then had, like, obviously suffered all the injury and stuff like that. But let's fast forward to now, and that's probably my struggle, is like, injured. I'm just injured, yeah. So I'd love to come back and fight. Some, like, the thought of it, I'd love to. And again, I've never closed the book, like, to say that. I've never announced retirement or anything like that. But my thing is, am I hungry enough? Because I've trained through injuries for years. This hand, I trained, I didn't even know it was broken for years. And I had some of my biggest win streak was probably with this. And I remember it being really painful, but, you know, like, I just carried on. You get to a point and you're like, fuck, can I keep doing that? You know, you start thinking, I've got, like, problem with my back and stuff like that. And that's where it gets hard. Like, you kind of, that's where I'm at now. It's like, do you want to go through that pain all the time? Like, you've achieved it. And so that's why sometimes it can actually, like, maybe stop you, or like stop you going further, if that makes sense. Because you're going, oh, I've done what I wanted to do. So then you start questioning it, whereas that was never a question before. You go, oh, your back's bad. Doesn't matter. You want to be a champion, you've got to carry on. As once you get there, it's like, well, I did do that already. So that's the hard thing, and it's hard because that's why I kind of respect people like Liam Harrison and people like that, like because to be honest, he's what 40 now, yeah. I know he's just retired now, but fuck me, he's 20, 30 years, 25 years, or whatever. And I know him obviously personally. I know how many injuries he's had, and to carry on, it's tough, man. Like that is really tough. You must have a different. It's very like you have to have a real strong mindset to kind of get through a lot of that stuff. So yeah, I'd say another big player. I'm waffling a little bit, but another big thing for it is I say momentum. Like having a momentum kind of keeps you going as well. And I think that's probably what I struggled with was the lack of the momentum in the end. Hand injury, surgery, come back, surgery. I had like 3 surgeries on my hand and it just kept putting me out. And then trying to get back. So you're going up to this level and then you don't fight for a year. Go back, then you don't fight for 3 years. Like, so I think momentum's key. And then yeah, I think momentum's a big factor in it as well. I'd say just keeping it going. Once when the ship's sailing nicely, it's nice, and you can just if you can. I say this to my fighters all the time: let momentum go with the momentum because that's going to be a key factor in your career. Once the momentum stops, it's really hard to get back on track.
Do you have someone that kind of, what's the word? I want to say protects you, but is the one that's got to say, all right, Dan, yeah, you can fight. Because you're, as a student, let's say Liam, Corey, whoever comes up to you that wants to fight, you're the one that gives them the nod, saying, based on everything I've seen, yeah, cool, it's fine. Or, you know what, you need to take a little bit of time away from me. You make that. Who's that person for you?
It would be Lewis. Yeah, Lewis. Lewis and my missus. Nah, it's Lewis. Like, I've only trained with Lewis for 3 of my fights, but it's actually gutting because I wish I trained with Lewis a lot earlier. Not after, like, because obviously my coach died. So like, when my coach died, Liam, I wish I knew Lewis then. That makes sense, because I feel like he gave me what Liam was giving me, like the same kind of vibe. It was just the same feeling. But I kind of got to Lewis quite late, and I'd already, like I said about the momentum, I'd already lost that momentum, and I was trying to get the momentum back. And I was taking, to be honest, me and him talk about it all the time. Like, I took some crazy fights straight away. I had 3 years out, and I was fighting Mario Alvarez and people like that. Like, and to be honest, that was my fault because I was actually like self-managing. So I was like, yeah, I'll get the fights, you train me. But then I stopped that after that. I was like, all right, that's not a good idea. Like, because I'll fight anyone, or clearly. So, so yeah, and when Lewis started taking control, I think like he took control a little bit more of the fight after that, and it was a good plan. Like it went completely to plan. Then I kind of then took a tiny bit more control again after that, and again it just didn't go to plan. So, and then I was going to come back to fight after that, but I had a few injuries. But I did say to him, all right, I'm not even going to talk to promoters. He had a little bit of control in the 3rd one, let's say, but I still sorted that out basically. Whereas I said to him after that, I was like, no, it's you, because I'm just going to do whatever. I'm going to fight whoever because I think that I can beat anyone still. Yeah. I should have had a better roadmap, and I think he would have done that for me. And I noticed that because when he did sort it out for me, like I said, it went to plan. And he's like me. He's not doing it for like fame. He's not he's not training his fighters to be this famous coach or whatever. He actually just loves it. And like me and him are just good friends. Like, you know, I haven't fought for a couple of years now. Me, him, Alice, my girlfriend Georgia, we'll meet up. We went to Thailand together. You know, like we've just become really good friends, and I trust him like 100%. Even we do a bit of, like, I suppose, business together. Like we do the inter clubs together and like stuff like that. And we'll split 50. There's nothing like me and him. Like we're very similar in a lot of ways. Like got some differences like in personalities as well, but in terms of that, like we're very trustworthy and we're straight down the line, and we genuinely want the best for the people that we're trying to bring up. So yeah, again, waffling, but Lewis would be the guy for me that would tell me you got to do this, and I should have listened to him a little bit more.
That's the thing, isn't it? Because the fight has got, your mentality has to be, I could beat anyone. So when you offer the fight, your mentality has to be your coach is the one that's got to safeguard you. And say, actually, you know what? No, you need to.
We're all crazy. Like I mean, I am. Like when it comes to fighting, like we'll fight whoever, and that's why you are successful. Because you will fight whoever. But there's also a time and a place to do it, and there's a way to do it sometimes. Like I think at that point in my career, there was definitely a better way of doing it. What I should have done was probably started a little bit easier and just built it, and then got the momentum. Like I said, get the momentum going. But I just didn't get the momentum going. But yeah.
I had another question, but I want to ask you this one before we get to that one. Do you think that mentality that you have is kind of lost in the industry now? Or do you think for the better or the worse? Because you're saying how you would have preferred to have the momentum building up, but do you think right now it's like we have this boxing mentality on an industry that's not boxing, where you're protecting a record and you're thinking to yourself, bro, you're going to be fighting on, let's be like frank, right? MTGP, CFS, even our show,
Yeah.
you're not going to make a million out of it.
No.
So what are you protecting? Do you see where I'm coming from? Do you think we've
100%.
lost something there?
I've been speaking about it a lot more recently, I think, in the last year, and with some high level fighters as well that were in my kind of in the era where we were all coming through. That is lost. Like there's some great divisions in this country, and none of them fight each other. And it's like you go and fight internationally, which is great for them. Like that's wicked. Like I think everyone should do that as well. But just because you've done that, it doesn't mean that you can't come back and fight each other. There's some great fights. Like I look at the bantamweight division. Like I look at that and I'm like, there you could literally. We spoke about it already. Like you could probably do like you could do like a fight league, let's say, with all of them in that league, and just get them all fighting each other. No matter what their ranking is, the top 10, probably all of them can fight each other and give each other a good fight. But none of them are fighting each other. I don't know why. I don't know the politics, and I don't know who's ducking who and who's or what. I actually have no idea because they're not my fighters. But that division's one that sticks out in my mind. So I'm looking at that, and I love that division because it's the division that I grew my career in. So I'm looking at them going, come on, man, just fight. Like, because I'd done that. I fought loads of people. I fought all these, like I was fighting in Thailand on massive shows in Rajadamnern, Petchney promotions. Not many foreigners were doing that. I done that, then I come back and I fought Ryan Sheehan because Ryan Sheehan also had beaten a couple of people that I'd fought and beat. So then why should I not give him that chance as well? And Paulo da Silva done it to me. I was 18, I was a kid, and Paulo had been number one for years, and he gave me my opportunity. It was one of the best moments of my life. So, like, why should I like not give back? You know, like someone like Ryan Sheehan, for instance, where he's winning. And again, I also believed I could beat him easily, to be honest. And it was actually one of my toughest fights of my career. But I also believed I could beat whoever easily, to be honest. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to fight, and I'm going to beat him. And I'm going to prove that I'm the best. Yeah. I don't think a lot of them guys are doing that at the moment. I don't know why. There's a few weight categories, not just their category. There's quite a lot of categories that are like that. And I honestly don't like the whole, oh, I'm not going to fight you because you're below me in the rankings. Bro, you're number 9. That's not like what we talk about. If you're not number 1, you do not have that say, in my opinion. If you're not number 1, number 2 max, you don't have a say. You shouldn't have a say, or you should not be ducking anyone. Like, because that, like, why would number 1 fight you? Do you know what I mean? So, and even the number 1s, I think there's a lot of fights that can still happen, and they just won't. I'm number 1. Why would I? I fought this guy. Why should I? This is shit mentality, I think.
Do you think it's the ambition? So, like, for example, when you're coming up, you want to fight the best in Thailand. You want to go to Thailand, and you're eyeing up the stadium champion, right? Where these guys are eyeing up like the champions here in the UK. We're protecting that number 1 spot. Like, for example, if you look internationally, being number 1 in the UK means fuck all, really. Exactly. So fighting and protecting rank number 7 just because you want to move up to rank number 5 doesn't really do anything. Whereas if you, let's say, worked on the tough fights, get the fights in, get the experience in, and you've improved as a fighter, then you may not even need to be ranked number 1 to go get an opportunity in RWS, one fights or whatever. You have those opportunities for you. And I kind of feel like you're in that era where people are trying to balance social media. How do I look out into the world, and disregard, well, actually, what do I need to be the best? So there's a bit of like public failure, right? If you take those fights, so you taking fights, that you taking Paulo fight, you're an 18-year-old, you could do it, your fucking ass is handed to you. And then you could have looked, do you know what I mean? You would have come back to the gym, getting beaten by Paulo with your leg all fucked up, and completely different, but you take the risk, right? Exactly. And you're prepared to lose to take that risk. Well, I think we've lost that certain element of that anyway.
100%. I think I also always remember, again, my mindset back then, and Simon Forrest will quote me on it. I would never ever boast about a ranking unless I was number one anyway. And even that, I remember even Steve Broom used to do rankings. I used to always wind him up, to be honest. Like we're friends, but he took me out of the rankings because I actually started fighting. I was living in Thailand, and because I couldn't defend that spot, he took me out of it. And I was like, mate, number one's a shit spot anyway. Like I would just joke around with him, like people. Yeah, my ambitions were a lot higher than that anyway. So even though I gave Steve shit just as a laugh, like honestly, my ambitions were so much higher than that anyway, and no one, and to be honest, once you win the number one spot anyway, everyone will so everyone remembers the Paolo fight, for instance. A lot of people remember that. But then you go on and do bigger things. People actually forget that you're even UK number one. They think, oh, he was in Thailand fighting, he was fighting in the stadiums, or he fought Rungna. So yeah, it is a lack of ambition. Well, it feels like that to me. It feels like a lack of ambition and a lack of confidence. Are you confident enough to beat these guys? If you are, go beat them. If not, then you're not confident enough, and you shouldn't be number one or number two or whatever you are. Do you know what I mean? I think, like I said, I think it's a shit mentality, and I think actually boxing's going the opposite route. They're actually trying to match fighters now and not care so much about the zero, and we're going their way. We're trying to go zero record only. It doesn't work. And it's shit, and it's not good for the fans. It's also not good for the kind of ecosystem of let's say UK. Let's use UK Muay Thai as an example. Like a UK fighter versus UK fighter, bit of a rivalry, UK number one, UK number two. You could sell that so well, and there could be a good build up to it, and everyone wants to see it because everyone in the UK also, we all know each other. So it's like, oh shit, so and so's fighting so and so. I can't wait for that, and it'll get everyone speaking. Or you've got UK number one fighting someone from fucking Slovakia. No one has a clue who they are. Do you know what I mean? So it doesn't get anyone talking. It doesn't build the sport. It doesn't build you. You're probably going to win easily. So it's not even going to help you in that sense either. I just don't really get it. I'm not sure. I don't really get that mindset. And I'm glad. And again, I'd done it with Liam Cunningham. I'd probably give him some hard fights at the start because I did actually believe he could beat him. But Tyler Hogan's a prime example, actually. I don't think Tyler was even ranked, but I knew how good Tyler was. And I was like, that's a great fight. I thought the fight would be great. I thought Liam would win. But I thought it would be the right test for him at that time. And it was, because it was a great test for him. He lost on points, but it was a brilliant fight. How good was that fight? Do you know? And that's the fights you need to be seeing. And that domestic rivalry, that's what that caused. Do you know what I mean? That little build up to it, the little cliques of UK Muay Thai, everyone talking about it, and then they fought and they put on a mad show, and it was an unbelievable fight. But people not fighting each other, that we're not going to get that. Do you know what I mean? Them nights are special in my opinion, and a lot of people are kind of trying to bypass that because they've fought internationally. So yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. I get it. That always baffles me as well because the ranking, everyone wants to get to number one, and I get it. You want to have targets, but that's got to be your benchmark to say I want to get to there so I can say I'm best in the UK. Cool, you've said it. So what's next for you, right? But it's that's the moment. It's like that's what they want. We want UK number one. Like that's the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
And you're thinking to yourself, what's next for you, right? Like really, it means fuck all in the grand scheme of stuff. And you've heard stories about the rankings where there's people on there that don't make sense.
Yeah.
It goes up and down. And like you said, you go to Thailand and you're fighting monsters over there. You come out the ranking. Does that now make you worse than them? Like it's.
Yeah.
I get it. I just feel like the fighters need to look at their development.
Yeah.
What do we need to do to get better so we can fight those guys in Thailand and we can fight whoever in it?
They're scared to lose. And that's just the simple answer. They're scared to lose, and they're scared to put on Instagram that they lost. And that's it. Like they think that's going to ruin their career, and it won't. That if you can come back from it, I've lost loads of fights. Well, not loads, but I've had nearly 50 fights. I think I lost 6 or 7. So I've lost multiple times still. But I come back from every one of them losses and I had a massive win streak every time. So it doesn't matter. And I've lost to people, but I've come back and I've beat better people and made a bigger name for myself because of that win. So the loss doesn't matter. Like you said, people are forgetting about the development. They're thinking more about, I think it's social media. It has to be, because they're scared to put on their...
Exactly.
Because to be honest, when I was fighting as well, a lot of things could have gone unnoticed. I could have lost the fight. No one would ever know. Actually, I was actually, Josh was asking me about a few fights, and I was showing him fights that no one would have even ever seen of mine, because they weren't on YouTube or anything like that. So like a lot of things went unnoticed back then. So you just fight, you lost maybe, you won maybe, and then you fight again, you win, you lose, and you just keep building it up. So whereas now everything's documented because of you guys.
let's come back to that Liam and Tyler fight. Liam lost against Tyler, but Liam learned so much from it, and Liam's going to come back as a stronger fighter. Like genuinely, I'm excited to see where he goes with his career.
Yep.
You don't look at that and thinking, "Oh, that's it." You know, he's never going to be anything now.
Yep.
You realize that actually, you know what, Liam's the kind of guy that's going to take that. What do I need to change to make sure that never fucking happens to me again? And he will improve. And then the next fight he has, like we will see him on the 14th of March, he's going to be a completely different monster. And the conversation is going to completely change. Like you said, you're now talking about him fighting those big fights again, except it's an improved version of him.
Exactly. And he's a prime example, and that's what I'm excited to see, like his return and see how he goes. And you've even got people in here like you, Corey. Corey's fought everyone, basically. He will never not fight. He would never turn down a fight, yeah? He wins, he loses sometimes. And to be honest, every fight's always so close, and most of them are very exciting as well. But he just comes back and he fights again. And then, so he lost to Brooke on the last Leapfrog in Bedford. And then, I think, was it 6 weeks later, we got a random offer, like 2 weeks notice to go fight in Cambodia against Sok T, who's like their top fighter. Goes, puts on one of his best performances, wins. Everyone, like, I'm actually getting messages now already, like today actually, about him fighting in Cambodia again. They love him out there now. I come back to the gym. No one even remembers he lost to Brooke. Do you know what I mean? Everyone actually forgot. I sometimes even forget about that fight now, because I'm just thinking that fight was so good. Like he showed me how the improvements he made and the hunger he has to come back and win. Everyone in the gym was so buzzing with him, and like even the Muay. To be honest, he got some props in the Muay Thai world. Probably not as much as he probably should have, but he still got some props for it. And people were like, wow, that was a really good. You know, like people. If I ask someone up north now, do you know that Corey lost to Brooks out? They probably wouldn't even remember. Yeah. And that's what the mindset everyone's got to have. I always say it again. I'm going to use Simon for us. I say it to him because me and him obviously quite close, and we talk about it. You fight, you win or you lose. You ride that high or that low. Say you have the fight on Saturday. You ride the high or the low. Sunday you can ride it still. Monday everyone goes back to work. No one even remembers anymore because everyone's so caught up in their own life anyway. So everyone thinks that I think what they've got to think is that you're not actually, in all due respect, and like this isn't like disrespectful, you're really nothing. Does that make sense? You're everything in your own world, but me to you, yeah, me and having this conversation is wicked now, but like, and me fighting, if I fought in World Super Series, to say, at the time you were like buzzing, that was sick. On Monday you'll forget about it. Do you know what I mean? Like no one cares. You're worried about what you're doing. I'm worried about what I'm doing. Everyone's worried about what they're doing. So no one gives a fuck. And I think that's what the mindset, everyone's got to remember that. Like, no one actually cares. Yeah. So if you're doing it, do it for the right reasons, and just try and get as good as you can and fight who you can. And I think if you have that mindset, you can go far.
100%. So you're fighting, and presumably you're doing PTs and stuff for someone, for like fighters or whoever. At what point do you think, actually, you know what, I want to make a career out of this? Because fighters do PTs, but they do it more to just fund the fight career, right? But at some point, you would have just turned around and thought, actually, you know what, I want to actually run a gym myself. I want to do this. What was that moment? Why did you want to do it?
So I've been teaching at different gyms, and like you said, like I'm basically just trying to fund myself to just be able to train to fight, and then get a bit of fight money, and then that same process. And then I got offered the job in Singapore at Evolve, which was like known at the time for like highest paid Muay Thai trainers and stuff like that. And you had like all the legends there, like Nongo was there and Sammy, and like they brought all the Thais over, and they were like the first to do it. And because Chatri was like the owner of that gym, it was like quite a big thing. And I was the first foreigner to get, or non-Thai to get, a Muay Thai job out there. So I went there, and I was getting paid well for the first time ever, like, where I was like, but I was working my bollocks off for it, to be honest. But you know, I was getting paid for once, and it was nice to kind of see that money coming in my account. But then I'm kind of still not free to do what I want because you've got to follow a certain system that they wanted you to teach. And I'm like, well, that's not really what I like to teach. Like, that's not how I was brought up. So you've got a few things like that. And then I was like, kind of not really enjoying being away from my family and my friends and also my girlfriend. I just got with Georgia at the time, to be honest. So then I took the opportunity because it could have been life changing for me. But I actually really struggled with being away. And it was COVID actually as well. So Singapore kept going into lockdown. So it was a weird time. And then what I noticed, I trained people in Gym Box in London, like these big corporate gyms, right? Evolve was one of them. And every time I done classes there, my classes always got busy and they always got popular and people loved the way I trained them and stuff like that. And maybe they like me, I don't know, but I know they like my training as well. So then when I actually eventually come back, I was like, I was going to teach for a gym, like a local gym, and I'd just get paid a salary. And I was like, why don't I just do this myself? Like, I've been doing this, like I said, like probably 20 years now. I've built up a resume of like people going, I love that training. I know that people like the way I teach people and coach the classes. So why not just do it myself? And I kind of, luckily there was a gym down the road, about 10 minutes from here, and they were like a boxing, MMA, they were like a bit of a mix. They had the facility there, but no one was actually using it. So I took a few, there was a few boxes in there, but I took a few of the time slots, paid them a rent, and tried building it like that. And it's honestly is the best thing I've done because with the PTs, for one, you can't do them forever. I don't even really do them anymore, to be honest, because I've had so many issues with my body, and I more think about the future a little bit more now. Like, I don't really want to have arthritis in my shoulders. I probably already have, to be honest, but I don't want to make that any worse. And so I wanted to build a business that, again, I'm passionate about Muay Thai, but I also want to run a business. So I want a good fight team, but I also want to have money and I want to be able to do things and I want to be able to provide for my family and stuff like that and provide for myself and without really taking a beating. And I think once I saw that, I was like, oh, right, okay, I've paying this much rent. I've already got 10 members in, and that just took a few Instagram posts, and you keep building it. And I was like, oh, okay, this is what I want to do because, like, one, it's obviously I love it. Two, it's not easy, but it is kind of easy, really. Like, do you know what I mean? Now it is like my life. Again, I have hard times. Don't get me wrong. Like sometimes I'm like, fucking hell. There's a lot of emotional stress that you got to deal with, and there's, like I said, there's loads to it. But my life, this is my dream, man. Like, I can't even believe that I never started this earlier. But I've built my dream life because of one step. Do you know what I mean? And I was doing it all for people because I wasn't confident enough to do it myself. And then when I finally was like, no, what am I doing? I'm literally the guy with the skills, and I think you can vouch. I think anyone in this industry can vouch that I feel like I'm a very likable person and I get on with anyone. So I was like, why? I've got all the skills to do it. I just got to do it. And I've done it and it's changed my life. Like, this is, like, to be honest, when I left Singapore, I never thought I would get the same amount. I didn't think I'd ever earn that money. And it was really I had a bit of a breakdown about it, to be honest, to my girlfriend, because I was like, I'm in this weird situation where I don't think I'm ever going to get this opportunity again to make this kind of money, but I hate it. And I don't like being away. I don't really like the environment there. And then I come back, obviously started this, and I'm well surpassed that. Do you know what I mean? So, like, again, this goes back to the start of the interview. Yeah, hard times don't last. You get through it, and you go, you go to the next step, and that's what happened. Like, I had a bit of a hard time there. I didn't like it. I felt a bit stressed and got myself worked up and got myself into a bit of just a shit mindset. Come out of it, started this, and now it's like my dream. I'm living the dream every day. It's mad.
When you started this, you would have had a few difficult weeks and months, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
What was it in your head that just said, you know what, like, this is gonna? You got 10 members, you got rent to pay, you've given up this job in Singapore. So what part of you just said, you know what, this is gonna work? When was that moment?
I think, like, I was quite lucky because what the fuck is going on down there? Is he burping? Sorry. So I think I was lucky because over the years, again, I trained a lot of people for free, to be honest. Here in Bedford, I'd go to gyms and I'd do little group sessions and more to like train with them. So I'd train with them, but I'd give them a bit of advice, and it was like local fighters and or then you got like Simon Forrest, and he'd bring a couple of people, and then I'd start teaching them. And so as soon as I did start, I had a good base, because people were like asking me for years, bro, when are you going to open? And I was like, nah, I'm focused on my own fight career. So I was pretty lucky that I had that as a base to start off with. But then that was only a small base, and you've still got to pay like what, I think maybe like 700 to £1,000 rent a month anyway. So you got to get that money in and then earn. So that base was good, but it wasn't enough. So yeah, I think I just thought persevere, because I could see the numbers going up eventually. But then, to be honest, it's very, now it's pretty leveled out. But at that point, it was very up. Like you'd get like 10 people come in, then like the next session you'd get 2. Then you get 30. One day I remember getting like nearly 30 people in the class, and then the next session I had like 4 people. I was like, and then I wasn't like, then you kind of learn on the job as well. So I was actually doing pay as you go. Then I'm like, well, this is very inconsistent. So then you start doing the direct debits. Then you start trying to learn more about the gym businesses and how people work them, and you just do that. And then you speak to good. Again, Lewis is a big factor of how this has been successful for me, I think. And I don't know if I've ever even told him this. I don't know if I ever even told him this, to be honest, but like I seen how successful he was with his gym, and he's got the same kind of ethos as me. He's got the same kind of like standards, the same kind of mindset, and a lot of the stuff. And I just kind of asked him questions about a lot of it, and he was just truthful with me, even about financial, like, you know, like money. He'd be completely straight up with me, because I wanted to know if it would definitely work. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, it can work, right? And he was like, yeah, like stick at it, you'll kill it. And then so he was a big factor. Like having him again gave me the confidence to keep the standard, because what I didn't want to do is go down like this keep fit, like Thai boxing fit route, because I would just quit doing that. Honestly, I don't like doing stuff like that. I seen him doing the Thai boxing classes, like proper Muay Thai style training, and his classes had like 40 people in there. And I was like, bro, you need a bigger gym for one. Secondly, like wow, I've never seen that before. Do you know what I mean? Like I've never seen them like kind of with that kind of training style and packed out still, and everyone trusted in his methods. So yeah, he was a big part. I'd say just talking to the right people. Like you could talk to some old dinosaurs in this sport, yeah. And sorry, I'm going to be that is a bit disrespectful, but they sometimes are, and they go, it will never work. Yeah, you can't make money from Muay Thai. Don't listen to them, like because you can. And one, if you've got the experience. One, if you're a good guy and you're a good person, you're fair and all that. But also, if you're interested in actually learning on how to market things and actually how to sell things, you can do whatever you want. So try not to listen to them people, because you'll get a lot of it. Like I had so many people say it to me, you'll never make money. I've been in this sport for 30 years. Don't listen to them, because you can, and you can live the life that you really want to live. And this is what I'm doing. So yeah.
Excellent. So now sitting here on the ring, your ring,
Yep.
in your gym, knowing that you started with like 10 members and your classes with 2, how's that feel?
It's crazy. You know what's actually mad though, but you know what happens in it. Like you start, then your standard just raises, and so like when my class doesn't have 25 people in it, I'm like, what the fuck? Where is everyone? Do you know what I mean? Like my capacity in here is probably 30 to 34. We hit capacity probably nearly every class. Like on most nights, there's a class with full capacity in it. Yeah. And even now, I'm like, and then when it drops off like by 4 people, I'm like, what's going on? You just raise the standards, but also it's good to do that, but also sometimes you have to live in the moment, or like you have to kind of take yourself back and go, wow, like I actually can't believe it. Like people are wearing my stuff with my name on it. Like what the fuck? Do you know what I mean? Like it is mental. And then like people literally trust me with their life. Like so many stories, and like yeah, it is really surreal, to be honest. Like because this was all a dream for me, and it kind of is working. But yeah, you raise the standard, but sometimes I think that's probably me being my own worst enemy at times, and that's why sometimes you get in your own head about things. You're like, no, this isn't working. But it takes a step back. There's like yesterday was crazy in here. There was so many people, and I had like I think this week we've had like probably 10 or plus people, like new people come in, sign up, and that's just in 1 week. Do you know what I mean? Like it's mental. It's mental, and people were loving it. People having a good time. People are like thanking me for giving them this. And I'm like, they're kind of giving me this, if that makes sense. So it's a joint effort. But yeah, so yeah, it's a great feeling. And like I said, for anyone that does want to, I think there's also definitely time and a place. Like if I didn't focus fully on my fight career, probably maybe this would have been a little bit harder to get people's trust quite quick. But at the same time, don't listen. Like I said, don't listen to the people that are going to tell you you can't make money in Muay Thai. There's plenty of people making a lot of money in this sport. Yeah.
How do you balance training elite level fighters to complete newbies? How do you balance that energy?
So with the like elite level, with your like likes of your Liams, your Corys, and even some of the ones that are coming through we've got loads now, to be honest. I try and take them as much as I can, but to be honest, now they've all got to a level where they actually all help each other. I mean, I'm always trying to chop and change things and think like, is this going to work? Is this working? But the reason why the gym is so successful as a business as well is because I actually let everyone train together. So when Corey's fighting on his training for his fights in his fight camp, and Tim and Liam and B and Igor, all of them, when they're all training, there's a guy that's been coming for a month and he's training alongside them. He's like, wow. But that's how our fight team's growing, because now they're all fighting and they're like, that's the standard they're seeing, and they're around that every day. So it's actually quite easy to balance. But the problem I'm having actually now is like actually just fitting everyone in, to be honest, because it's a good size, but it's still not massive. And we're like packing the mats out. We've got like every week we're getting people that want to fight. You know, like people like we're doing our interclub at the end of the month, and people want to like we've got so many people that want to fight on that. So that's the hardest thing to balance, is like actually keeping everyone happy and like making sure there's space for everyone. But it just works. Like, I didn't, like I said, I didn't go down the keep fit route, boxer size, Thai boxing fit. I stuck to what I loved, and I knew that people would love it. So, and the people that have just started, they can still do this. Like, you know, like realistically, like the moves and the stuff in Thai boxing, everything's the same. Like you got kick, punch, elbow, knee. Yeah, like you're learning the same techniques. Like I said at the start, like it's how you throw them that makes you better. So I'm basically teaching these all the same stuff, but so everyone's doing the same thing anyway. So like trying to like splitting them up all the time, I think you lose a bit of motivation. So I think like that's why I keep it all together, and it works really, really well. Like keeping the beginners and the fights together. And then sometimes I do like a beginners basic class, but even then, a lot of my fighters come to it because they just practice their footwork. So I'll do like 20 minutes of the start of the session. They're doing line drills, just practicing footwork, but all my fighters come and do it. So like even then, and again, I'll probably have to go and tell them soon to like maybe they should stop coming because it's getting too busy. But like it just works, to be honest. And we've found a really good balance. And the fighters, I give them props as well. They're very helpful, like to the beginners as well. So Corey and Liam, B, Tim's like my right hand man, to be honest. Like whenever I need a hand, like Tim will be on board and help me. Same as Corey and Liam, to be fair. And then B does a ladies only class. We've got Igor and Junaid. They help me with the kids classes. So I've got a really good support system and people that really help me out. And if there is a lot of beginners in the class, Corey, Liam, or whoever it is, they'll help them out. You know what I mean? And that creates a great atmosphere, and that's why people always come back. So I think that's another way of balance, is just having a good team and like creating a good environment for everyone. And yeah, man, we've got a really this place is amazing. And I think like even like Josh comes, he helps out. Like he comes and he helps his styles clinch. He will help some of our guys out clinch. Do you know what I mean? Like tonight he's doing a clinch class, and I'll just put it on a timetable like to try and help everyone. It's free of charge. Like no one else. Like, you know, like everyone's, it's for the members. Like it's an extra class, but they get that because we're trying to give back to them. And I think that's why people really love it. And I think, again, like I said, that's why it balances out, because everyone's kind of learning the same thing anyway. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. Last couple of questions. So second to last one is going to be from McGowan's Muay Thai. Who are the fighters we need to keep an eye on? There's obviously Corey and Liam. Say a little bit about them if you want, where Liam is and what we can expect from Liam in the next fight. Same with Corey. Corey lost against Brooke, went to Cambodia, got the win, and now he's coming back as like a different person. I like Corey because nothing phases him. He just comes in. He wants to fight. I can't remember what fight it was. I think it was the one before Brooks.
Natty Dodds.
Yeah. The one. What's the one he had with us on our show?
Oh, Rio Johnson.
Rio Johnson.
Yeah.
Rio Johnson came in heavy, right?
Yeah.
And Corey walks in and we're thinking negotiation, and we're like, fuck it, I just want to fight.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
Yeah.
So excited to have him back. Who in McGowan's Muay Thai should we look forward to? Not even on just our shows, but just in general. Who excites you?
So we've got a lot of like N class and probably start of C class coming up now. He actually fought on the Bedford show. Pharrell is half Thai and half English, and he's had two or three fights. He's not lost yet though, and lovely. Like, so basically, actually, story about him is I come back from Thailand I was with Lewis and Alice and my girlfriend. Come back from Thailand, come back to gym. It was being covered for 2 weeks for me. Come back and I was like, oh, there's Thai kids in the ring with Pan doing pads. I was like, oh, must be someone Pan knows. So watching my pads, and then he come out the ring. I was like, oh, where do you train, mate? Like thinking he was from another gym. He was like, here. And I went, yeah, no, like, but where do you train usually? He's like, here. I was like, what, you never, this is the first club. How long have you been coming here? 2 weeks. He's like, yeah. Bro, it was like natural. So good. And yeah, so last year he had his first 2 fights for me, and he was really good. Like lovely kicks, great style, like Muay Thai style, like proper Thai. So it was really nice. So he's good, and I think is he matched? I don't know if he's matched in World Super Series yet or not, but he is. Yeah, he is. So we've got him, very good future, and he trains really hard. He's tough, like good personality. He's good, really good kid. You've got Carter Bond. He's fought on Leapfrog before. I mean, I don't know if you've seen him. He's gone massive. He's huge now. So he's like nearer to 70. Like, well, he'll be fighting, I think, 68 kilo. But his last fight on Leapfrog was like 57.
Oh,
yeah. So he's like 16 now. He's watching him in here. He's actually giving everyone the hardest time in here. He's the youngest in it. He's one of the youngest in here as well. But he's just beautiful technique, timing, sees a lot of things. There's a few things I want him to get a bit better on where he can really assert his dominance in the fight. But if he can do that, he's going to be like, I actually look at him and look like stylistically wise and I think of Joe Ryan. He reminds me of that. I'm like very far to go still for that. But in terms of style, that's what he actually looks like. Even his build and everything. He's like tall now. He's kicks similar. So it's exciting. I'm excited to see like where he goes. Then we've got Igor. He's fought on a few of your shows already. He's 8-1, so he's only lost once. He lost against Heston in there. It was a really close fight actually. That was a little bit heavier for him as well. And then but he's won I think all of his fights since then. And he's just a workhorse, always willing to learn. He'll be in here, first in here, last out. He's that kind of guy. Great mindset, but actually getting really technical now as well. So he was just raw before, to be honest. He just fight Eastern European, love to scrap. Now he actually loves Muay Thai, and he's like getting obsessed with how to win fights and how to score. So yeah, exciting for him. Who else you got? We've even got some like females in the gym. We've got like Amber. She's having her first N class on World Super Series, and she's 31, 32, I think. She started pretty late. She only started last year. She started at another gym for a few months and then come here. And she's like, again, most sessions she'll be here. Tim trains her a lot, to be honest, as well. So like in the classes, like Tim takes her quite a lot and like kind of helps her out. So she's really progressed in the last few months. So Amber's going to be good. I'm looking forward to seeing how she gets on in the fight. But she's very determined, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. You got B. I don't think B's fighting, but on World Super Series. But again, she's got a lot of talent, a lot of potential. She's obviously been doing it for a long time, so she's experienced. But she just needs to, I think, like I said before, maybe once she starts putting it all together, the scoring and her physical attributes, I think she can be very good. You think? Who else? I'm trying to think who else has got fights coming up. To be honest, we've got so many. Like I looked at the schedule the other day and I was like, holy shit, we've got so
good
many.
place to be in.
Yeah, like February's basically nearly every week. So trying to think if I missed anyone out. I don't want anyone to get upset. But yeah, we've got loads. If I've missed you out, I'm sorry.
Is that what we were saying before the camera switched on about how there's so much value in the interactions? So when you got fighters and fighters and fighters all in the gym, and how your fighters are taking some of the basic classes as well, that knowledge is all just rubbing off from your new starters to everyone. It's quite good place to be.
No, it is. Yeah, everyone's it's getting really good in there. Like I said, they're all kind of following the same kind of ethos, if that makes sense, and it's just working. So yeah, long may it continue.
So my last question to you, Dan, this is like a standard one for me, is if you look back from the first time you walked into a Muay Thai gym, training and the journey that you've been on to Thailand, to your hand getting messed up, you taking time away, stuff with your coach and everything, and to this place, to building this, to be in the corner like you talked about when Tim won and that feeling. When you look back over everything that you've done up to this point, do you feel proud about what you've achieved?
Yeah, massively. Like it's nice, even like with my nephew. I've got a young nephew. I've got a couple, but like from my side of the family, and like I can tell how proud he is of like telling his friends about me or whatever about what I've done and showing. He was like, "Oh, I was at school and I was showing." Actually, I went to pick him up from school, and the teacher said, "Oh, are you the fighter? Are you the fighting uncle?" I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "Yeah, Leo was showing us on YouTube." Like, so like, it's just nice to know that like you've made someone like that proud, like my family and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm proud of myself. Like, I think I got through a lot of like hard times. Like nothing crazy, but for me, it was like my world was spun upside down with my hand injury and stuff. Like, it might sound very dramatic, but for me, that was my life. And 3 years of like being out was like proper hard for me, to be honest. It was like that was probably one of the hardest times of my life. And again, like people are going through hardship, but that for me that was really hard. And to come back and then to do what I've done now and to like kind of channel that, because like I thought again it was a good learning curve for me to channel that and go, right, that this career can be done like that. Yeah, start building something now and actually use your brain, what's left of it, and you know, like maybe change your life forever. And I think that's what I'm proud of, that I've done that and I made that decision, because you can get very caught up in just being a fighter, and just fighting for legacy and fighting for this. But to be honest, I had nothing to show for it in terms of financial when I broke my hand. No one was really backing me when I was out for 3 years. Like close friends and stuff were, and family. But you know, I had to go through all of that and I had to come back and I had to do this, and I've come back stronger for it. So yeah, very proud of it. And I'm also very proud of my fight career. Like if I can look back and go, like look at my fight career, everything I kind of really wanted to achieve as a kid, I think I've pretty much done it, to be honest. And like it's a nice feeling. That's a nice feeling. Like I put a lot of work into that and did it. And also, like I said, kind of realize that there's a lot of the power of the mind is very strong. And even like I didn't even know what manifestation and stuff like that was at that point, but I think I manifested it all, because I remember it. You know, I remember seeing it and going, I want that, and I've done a lot of it, to be honest. So it's probably a couple of things that I didn't in my fight career, but again, nothing's ever perfect. Even I think as you get older, you kind of get become more peaceful with that. Like you set out to achieve. I mean, I achieved, like I said, probably nearly everything. Probably the only thing I didn't do, which my hand injury probably stopped me doing, was I wanted to win a stadium title. But nothing's perfect, man. And, you know, I've got this now, and this, like, if it wasn't for the hand injury, I don't think I would have done this. So yeah, life just works in weird ways, isn't it? And yeah, but I'm very proud of myself, and even the team I've built and the community, the environment. I'm very proud of it.
Dan, thank you. Thank you for giving me your time, brother.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks.